Hey guys, tonight we travel somewhere cold, somewhere where the trees grow too close together and the sky at night looks like a black wolf stretched over the stars. You're in the forest, but it's not just any forest. This place smells like wet bark, pine sap, and the faintest trace of blood that even the moss can't forget. You don't know how you got here. Your boots are wet. The fire you didn't start crackles beside you. And somewhere out in the darkness, a howl rises. Not threatening, not urgent, just there, like it's been waiting. They say everyone has a story about their ancestors, but not everyone hears those stories in their bones. Not everyone wakes up remembering a name they never knew. Not everyone smells iron in the wind and feels it means something. And you probably won't survive this. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And tell me, where are you listening from tonight? Drop your city and local time in the comments. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You don't open your eyes yet. The dream hasn't let go. You're half awake, half remembering. You know it's cold, but your skin doesn't shiver. There's a name under your tongue, a name you've never spoken aloud, but one that feels like your own blood wrote it. The fire flickers against a ring of standing stones, low, moss-covered, forgotten by time. You're sitting inside that ring, and the fur around your shoulders smells of wolf, smoke, and a little too much sweat. It's not modern gear, it's hide, and your breath clouds before your face like ghost speech. No one told you the family legend would start like this. From as far back as you remember, your father used to talk about the blood of wolves. He said it with a grin sometimes, like a joke, sometimes with silence, but he never explained. At 13, you thought maybe it meant anger issues. At 16, you thought it was just an old Viking metaphor. At 22, you forgot about it entirely. Now you're here, and you understand it. It wasn't a metaphor. Behind you, a tree creaks, a birch, its skin peeling like paper. You stand slowly, not because something's chasing you, but because the forest expects it. You brush snow from your legs, noticing the frost doesn't bite like it should. Your body feels warmer than it has a right to. This forest should kill you. Instead, it watches. You take one step outside the stone ring. The wind shifts. Something whispers. Words not in English, not even Old Norse. Something older. You follow. Through roots and frost, between firs and ash, you walk. The path is marked with bone charms tied in deer sinew. Little figures that clack in the wind like rattling teeth. Someone's been here, recently. The tracks in the snow are too large for foxes, too clawed for boots. Wolf, or something wearing a wolf's feet. You pause at a tree where 3 scratches cut down the bark. Not from claws, from hands. Human ones, but deep. The legends of Berserkers, those Norse warriors who fought in a trance, wearing the skins of bears and wolves, have always been filed under probably exaggerated. Historians still argue whether they were truly possessed, drugged, or just very angry men with terrible impulse control. But you've never read a textbook that included the sound the wind makes right now, like it's breezing around you. Fun fact, Berserkers didn't wear armor. They believed their fury made them invincible. That worked well until someone stabbed them with a spear. But it wasn't just brute rage. Some accounts say they transformed, grew stronger, didn't feel pain. Some even howled like animals mid-battle. And as you pass another totem, this one with a wolf skull hanging upside down, you wonder if the howling has already started in your own ribs. At a clearing, you find it, a stone circle, wider than the first, with a carving at its center. A spiral of teeth set in old rock, not modern, not even Viking, older. You kneel before it, not out of reverence. Your knees just give out. And then you hear this, a voice like gravel sliding downhill. Welcome back, child of the wild blood. You spin, but no one's there. The fire you didn't light is back, now at the center of this ring. It burns green. That's not encouraging. A small pouch lies at the edge of the stones. Inside, dried mushrooms. You know what they are. Amanita muscaria, the berserker mushroom. The one they say caused the frenzy, the visions, the strength, the nausea. You pick one up, sniff it, shrug. Bad decisions make great stories, right? You eat. The fire pulses, your heart goes sideways. The trees bend, no, lean toward you. The snow falls upward for a second, or maybe your vision's reversed. You taste your own name on the back of your tongue, and this time, it's not yours. It belonged to the man who wore your face 1,000 years ago. And as your knees touch earth and your body begins to hum, you realize something. You never woke up in that forest. You never left.
The green fire is gone now. Or maybe it never was. Your mouth is dry, and the taste of mushroom, metallic, fungal, ancient, still clings to the back of your throat like a dare. You're lying on your side in the snow, steam rising faintly from your body, and the ring of stones around you now seems bigger, not in size, in weight, as if the memories it holds are heavier than the mountain. A shadow moves behind the trees. You sit up, slowly. The world tilts and creaks, but your legs remember what your mind doesn't. You've been here before, in dreams, in stories, in blood. The figure steps into the firelight, barefoot, shirtless, skin the color of smoked birch bark and covered in tattoos, some Norse runes, some stranger. His beard is braided, and across his chest is the pelt of a massive wolf, teeth still intact, eyes missing. You don't speak, neither does he, but he tosses something into your lap. It's a pelt, fresh, still warm. You will wear it, he says simply. His voice sounds like he gargles pine needles for breakfast. You blink. Afi? That's Icelandic. Grandfather. Your hands tighten on the pelt. It's not just for warmth. It's a calling card. They used to say that to become a berserker, you had to put on the skin of the beast, not just physically, but spiritually. To let go of your name, your fear, your restraint. Historians still argue whether this was symbolic or literal. Some claim the trance was drug-induced. Others point to spiritual possession. And then there are those fringe researchers, the fun ones, who whisper that it wasn't the human that changed, it was the skin. You drape it over your shoulders. It stinks, like death, sweat, and wet dog, but also like home. The man gestures for you to follow him. You walk in silence deeper into the woods until you arrive at a clearing of blackened stumps and frozen bones. Here he stops. This was your grandfather's last stand. You swallow. The air feels older. He was not born to rage. He earned it. The first time he put on the pelt, he screamed for 9 days. On the 10th, he was silent. On the 11th, he tore apart a boar with his hands. A lovely family legacy. The man points to a tree with an axe still embedded in its trunk. Its handle is carved with a name. Not your grandfather's name, not even close. This was his brother, the man says. They fought here for control of the line. A pause. The brother died, but not before he cursed your grandfather. Now, this is the part where you laugh nervously, maybe mutter something like, "Oh, cool, a cursed family line. How very Scandinavian of us." But your mouth is too dry. You step closer to the tree, touch the handle. The wood pulses faintly under your fingers, like it remembers the last hand that gripped it. And suddenly you see it. A memory, maybe, or a vision. 2 men, one in a bear pelt, the other in a wolf's, screaming, clashing, blood, yes, but also tears. One stabs, the other bites. A wolf howls, snow falls, a name is lost. Then darkness. You stumble back. The man watches you, his expression unchanged, not cruel, just tired. It always begins again, he says. The rage, the loyalty, the blood debt. You sit down on one of the stumps. It creaks under your weight. So what happened to him, you ask? To my grandfather? He walked north, the man replies. Alone, into the fjords. Some say he lives still, in the caves where the gods forgot to look. Others say he became more wolf than man. You nod, because that checks out. And you ask, who are you? he doesn't answer. Instead, he walks to the center of the clearing and raises a horn, an old drinking horn, stained and cracked. He pours it out on the snow, red liquid, too thin to be wine, too thick to be water. For those who howled before you, he says. You want to ask more, you really do, but your head feels heavy, like it's stuffed with fur and frost. You look down at your hands, they're shaking, not from fear, from anticipation. The man places a hand on your shoulder. Tomorrow, he says, you take the test, the real one, and then we will know if the blood speaks true. You look up at him, and if it doesn't, he shrugs. Then you go home, or die, or forget. Same thing, really. You laugh a little, but it sounds hollow. Later that night, you lie by the fire again. This time, the warmth feels earned. The pelt around your shoulders no longer itches, it fits. You dream of snow, of eyes glowing in the darkness, of a voice calling your name from a mountain top. You don't answer, not yet, but you will. And in that dream, you remember something your grandfather once told your father, who once told you. Some of us are born with teeth that don't fit in our mouths, and some of us are meant to bite the sky. You think you finally understand what he meant.
The sky is dull gray when you wake, like someone smeared ash over the morning. There's no sun, just light, flat and indifferent, pressing down on you from above. The forest is silent. Even the birds have taken the day off, which is rarely a good sign in any ancient Nordic legend involving blood tests and family trauma. You sit up. The wolf pelt has stuck to your shoulder with dried sweat and resin. Your breath makes little clouds. There's no sign of the man from last night, just boot prints in the snow leading into the trees. You follow. They wind through narrow paths and over frozen brooks, past crooked trees whose branches seem to reach toward each other like they're whispering secrets you weren't invited to hear. Eventually, you reach a low rise, bare, rocky, cold. At the top waits a circle of men and women. All of them wear animal skins, some wolves, some bears, one, oddly, an elk, antlers and all. They watch you with quiet interest, the way a jury might look at someone who probably stole the bread, but also maybe saved the baker's daughter. A man steps forward. You recognize him by the voice. You come to claim the name, he says. You shrug. I came to see if it fits. He nods. You will prove yourself. Now, if this were a YouTube challenge, there'd be a weird slime component and maybe a dance-off. But here, things are simpler. He hands you a knife. It's small, bone handle, no embellishments, just sharp. The test is blood. Of course it is. You're led to a tree, massive, gnarled, and ancient. Its roots claw out of the frozen earth like fingers, and its trunk is covered in markings. Some Norse runes, some less decipherable. There's a notch in the bark, the size of a fist, blackened from fire. You will place your hand here, he says, and you will bleed. You blink. Wait, just bleed? Like paper cut bleed? Or... He doesn't answer. Classic. The others stand in a semicircle, eyes fixed. No one blinks. You take a deep breath and press your palm to the notch. Cold. The bark is damp and sticky, like sap or something worse. You drag the blade across your hand. Not a deep cut, just enough. Blood wells and drips, soaking into the notch. The tree shudders. Okay, that's new. Suddenly, the air smells of copper and pine. The bark under your hand pulses, one beat, like a slow heart. And your own chest responds. You feel something move inside you. Not like a heartbeat, more like a memory trying to escape. You step back, dizzy. The man nods. Accepted. Wait, that's it? You didn't even fight anyone? You didn't wrestle a bear or recite Beowulf backwards? He raises his hand. Now the second part. There it is. The crowd opens. A path leads down the other side of the hill, into fog. Dense, wet, humming. The kind of mist that doesn't just hide things, but thinks about you. You descend. They don't follow. At the bottom, you find a stone pool. The water is black. Not dirty, just dark. Like oil and shadow had a baby. You hesitate. Above the pool is a carved stone archway. It reads, helpfully in Old Norse, "Face what you fear, or die as a stranger." Well, encouraging. You kneel by the pool and stare into the surface. No reflection, just darkness. And then it moves. Not the water, the darkness inside it. Something rises, slowly, gliding upward. And you see a face. Yours, but wrong. The eyes glow. The mouth grins a little too wide. And the wolf pelt it wears is black, soaked, dripping. It stares at you. It doesn't blink. You blink instead. And then you fall forward. Not stumble, not faint. Just fall into the water. There's no splash, no cold, just silence. You're floating in memory now. Not yours, someone else's. A man with a scarred face, gripping a spear. A woman screaming into the wind, holding a bloody pelt. A boy, your age, running across a frozen lake with wolves behind him. All of them wearing your face. All of them dying. Over and over. The wolf blood is not a gift. It's a cycle. You gasp. You're back, kneeling by the pool, wet, shaking, but alive. The others have joined you. You saw? The man asks. You nod. He studies your face. And did you accept it? You don't speak. He smiles. Then the blood is true. You look up at him. Was it always like this? For every generation? He shrugs. Sometimes worse. Helpful. A woman in the elk pelt steps forward. She gives you a small jar. Inside, crushed roots and something that smells suspiciously like honey and despair. For healing, she says. You murmur thanks. And as they lead you back toward the rise, hand bandaged, head spinning, stomach growling, seriously, why does spiritual transformation never include snacks? You realize something strange. You're proud. You did it. You bled. You fell. You returned. And now the real stories begin.
You sleep like a rock that night. A rock that got kicked down a mountain by a god with anger issues. When you wake, your hand is stiff, but no longer bleeding. The bandage smells like pine and honey, surprisingly comforting, like forest first aid with a side of childhood. The fire's gone out, but someone has left a bowl of stew beside you. Steam curls upward. You sniff it. It's edible, barely. Smells like something between elk meat and regret. You'd eat anyway. The man with the gravel voice reappears from behind a tree. Good, you're awake. Today we feed the spirits. You were hoping today might involve a nap and perhaps a nice scenic longboat ride home. But instead, you're handed a bundle of roots, bones, dried mushrooms, and a pouch of squirming grubs. For the offering, he says, far too casually. Do the spirits prefer this stuff? You ask. They asked for worse. Cool. He leads you down a narrow trail. The snow's softer here, touched by sun. You catch a glimpse of a red fox in the distance. It watches you like you just made a terrible mistake by being born human. At the base of a twisted pine, there's a hollow in the earth, lined with animal skulls and smooth stones, some painted red with berry juice and others dark with blood. You kneel. The man beside you begins to hum, a low, droning sound that vibrates in your chest. You follow instinct, placing your offering into the hollow one piece at a time. Roots, bones, the mushroom with the missing cap, and finally the twitching grubs. Nothing happens. Then the wind shifts. You smell something sharp, not rot, not fire, something electrical, like the air before lightning. The earth groans. The skulls rattle. A shadow moves at the edge of the trees, just beyond sight. They accept, the man says softly. You don't dare ask who they are. Not yet. Instead, you stand. But your legs are unsteady. Your stomach twists. Your vision warps for a moment. The trees bend, then straighten. And that's when the nausea hits. Ah, yes, you forgot the mushrooms. The world tilts, and you drop to your knees again, hands digging into the snow. The ground feels soft, too soft. It breathes under your palms.
Don't fight it, the man murmurs. Let it show you what you are. You close your eyes. You see fire. You see teeth. You see yourself tearing into raw meat with joy. You see your ancestors laughing in a circle as blood drips from their fingers like candle wax. You see a woman made of mist dancing above the treetops, whispering a name that makes your spine twist. Then silence, and a smell, sharp, rich, unmistakable, roasted meat. You open your eyes to find the nausea gone, and in front of you, a feast. Well, feast is generous. It's a large wooden board with smoked fish, dried berries, roast rabbit, and a large flatbread that looks like it was punched in a bar fight. You eat like a person possessed, which is fitting, really. As you chew, the man explains the old diet of the Berserkers. Mushrooms to loosen the mind, meat to strengthen the body, bone marrow for dreams, berries for the heart, honey for memory, and apparently lichens for reasons no one likes to explain. Historians still debate whether the mushrooms were the key or just an excuse. You nod with a mouth full of rabbit. One thing they don't debate, Berserkers were terrifying. They went into battle half naked, faces painted, howling like wolves, eyes wild. Enemies fled before them. Allies sometimes did too. They were said to feel no pain, and some claimed they grew in size during their rage. Of course, others say they were just adrenaline junkie lunatics with no fear of consequences. You know, uncles. After the meal, you're taken to the river. Narrow, black, cold. The mist here rises low and slow. The others join you. Wolf pelts, bear pelts, antlers glinting in the frost. You strip to your skin, because tradition, apparently, and step into the water. It bites. Your breath catches. Your muscles scream, but you don't flinch. You wade until the river is up to your waist, then kneel. You dunk your head under. Silence. Cold. Dark. Then a whisper. Not in your ears, in your blood. We remember you. You rise, gasping. On the shore, they're watching, silent. You walk back slowly, shivering. The pelt is thrown over your shoulders again. It's warm now, alive somehow. No one speaks, and you realize the test wasn't the tree, or the pool, or even the offering. It was this. Will you endure discomfort, doubt, and visions of your own worst instincts and still return? You did. You are no longer just a guest. You are part of the line now. Your body remembers the rage, but more importantly, your stomach still remembers that bread. Seriously, what was that?
You dream of screaming. Not your own, not at first. It's the sound of men, not in pain, but in frenzy. Voices torn from lungs, echoing across snowfields, soaked in something far too red. The rhythm of the howls matches your heartbeat, and your heartbeat matches the pounding of feet on frozen ground. You see them, figures with eyes wide as moons, swinging axes, biting shields, charging naked into lines of armored men who clearly weren't expecting this. Then it's your voice, and your scream feels like it tears the sky in half. You wake up sweating under the wolf pelt, fists clenched, breathing hard. Your jaw aches. You've been grinding your teeth in your sleep. The sky outside is pale gold, and frost dusts the edge of your eyebrows like some kind of Viking mascara. Today is your first fight. No, not war, not a raid. This is older. This is the circle. They take you at dawn. The others are already gathered. Wolf skins, bear faces, hawk-feathered, even one in badger fur, which honestly feels like someone lost a bet. They stand in a ring on packed snow, and in the center, 2 logs form a cross. That's where you'll fall, if you fall. The man with the gravel voice, who still hasn't given you a name, places a hand on your back. No weapons, he says. You nod. Your stomach does not. Your opponent steps into the ring. He's maybe 30, thick as a tree, covered in scars. One eye is fogged white, but the other gleams with amusement. Try not to scream, he says, grinning. You step forward. The crowd begins to chant, softly at first, like breath in winter. Horgur, Horgur, Horgur. It's not your name. It means altar. And today, that altar might be you. The man lunges. You move purely by instinct. Dodge, duck, stumble. You're not trained. You're not fast. But you're stubborn. Every time he knocks you down, you rise. Every time he grabs, you twist. Somewhere in the back of your skull, a drumbeat rises. Not external, internal. The rage is still sleeping, but it's rolling over now. Then he hits you clean. Your vision sparks white, and your body hits the snow so hard it burps. The crowd goes silent. Then the man offers you a hand. Good try, he says, but you don't take it. You scream, and this time it's not human. The wolf inside you stretches, wakes. The scream turns to a growl, and before you know it, you're on him. Not with fists, not with reason, but with momentum. You tackle him into the snow, slam your head into his chest, and bite his shoulder. Not hard, not blood, just enough. Enough to remind him that you're not trying to win. You're trying to transform. The fight breaks. They pull you off. He's laughing. Yes, that's it. You felt it, didn't you? You nod. Your teeth chatter. Your hands shake. First time always feels like falling into fire, someone mutters. They place you by the fire again. This time, no stew, just water and the old man's stare. You didn't win, he says. You shrug. I didn't lose either. He grunts approval. You learned something, he adds. You nod. Yeah, don't bite the scary one. But you did learn. The Berserker rage isn't just about fury. It's about surrender, letting the self dissolve. Historians still argue whether the Berserker state was mystical, drug-induced, or psychological, a survival mechanism twisted into madness. Some say it was divine possession. Others call it trauma with really good branding. All you know is this: you could feel the part of you that doesn't care if it lives, the part that runs into arrows smiling. That part isn't gone anymore. Later, as night falls, you sit with the others around a huge stone table. They carve stories into wood, not with words, but with marks, slashes, loops, spirals. Each tells a tale. You're given your first knife, not for fighting, for remembering. You carve the curve of your opponent's smile, the shape of your own scream, the cold of the snow where your face hit it. These go into the wood, not perfectly, but honestly. One woman watches you, nodding. That's the real training, she says. You look around. No one is talking loudly. No one boasts. They're quiet, focused. Some hum, some laugh, but all of them carve. Because the Berserker doesn't only rage, he remembers. And you're starting to remember too. As the night deepens, someone passes you a piece of salted fish. Another gives you a fur to wrap around your legs. A third, unexpectedly, starts humming an Old Norse lullaby. And for a moment, among these strangers with wolf eyes and weather-beaten hands, you feel, well, safe-ish. There's still a bear pelt guy eyeing you like you might be dessert. But you're learning. And tomorrow, you howl.
You howl at dawn. It doesn't come naturally. The first time it cracks, your voice goes weird and shrill, more dying goose than proud predator. Someone behind you stifles a laugh. You shoot them a glare over your shoulder, then try again. This time, it works. Your lungs fill with cold air. Your ribs expand painfully, and the sound that escapes is low, raw, and old. It vibrates your chest and rattles your teeth. It echoes across the trees, and somehow you feel answered. Not from the clan, from deeper in the woods. The man with the gravel voice nods. Now we show you the others. He means the other clans. You follow him beyond the ridge where the pine trees grow so close they tangle like arms in a brawl. The snow here is untouched. The silence is full. It's the kind of quiet that makes your ears ring. Eventually, the trees open up, and you see them. The wolf clans, plural. Your people weren't the only ones who wore fur and screamed at enemies until their bones rattled. There were others, fierce, wild, and very, very organized. You're led into a clearing where 5 other clans are gathered. The Bear Sons, the Raven Eaters, the Iron Boars, the Frost Fangs, and, weirdly, the Law Wolves. Yeah, Law Wolves. You're not even kidding. They wear finely combed wolf pelts,
braided beards, and carry scrolls. Scrolls! Turns out someone has to keep the Berserker clans from tearing each other apart every 6 seconds. The Law Wolves are descendants of ancient Norse thingmen, judges who memorized laws and carried them in verse. We fight, says your guide, but we also remember. Forgetting is how blood turns to poison. The clans eye you as you approach. You feel like a new kid at school, if school involved hallucinogenic mushrooms, mandatory hand injuries, and casual conversations about the best way to bite a horse. Your clan joins the ring. The Bear Sons are huge, like cartoonishly large. One of them is stirring a pot with a tree branch. The Raven Eaters are skinny, intense, tattooed up to the eyebrows. They hum to themselves. You get the sense they've all stared too long at fire. The Iron Boars have scars on scars. They wear iron rings around their necks and grunt instead of speaking. And the Frost Fangs? They're silent, just eyes, no smiles. You don't even know if they blink. A meeting begins. There's no yelling, no grandstanding. They discuss food, weather, and territory like a bizarre PTA meeting. Then the Law Wolves speak, reading from a long poem about shared customs and seasonal truce. Historians still argue, your guide whispers, whether these clans really existed or were exaggerated in saga songs. But if they were myths, someone forgot to tell them. You nod, watching as the Bear Sons begin wrestling for fun. One gets thrown into a snowbank and emerges cheering. Then it gets interesting. A girl from the Raven Eaters stands. She's maybe your age, smirking. Her black paint is smeared like war coal, and she carries no weapon, just a long bone flute at her side. She looks at you. You're the new blood, she says. Let's see what your lungs can do. She howls. It's perfect. High, sharp, melodic, a sound that freezes the air itself. Everyone turns to you. You take a breath, then another, and you let it out. Not to compete, to connect. Your howl rises, not as fierce, not as sharp, but deep, rooted, yours. And she nods. That night, there's food. You don't ask what it is. You eat. There's drink. It burns your throat and makes your toes feel musical. And there's dancing. Not polite dancing, not waltzes. This is stomping, spinning, howling, bone-rattling dance. You find yourself between two iron boars, hands on shoulders, chanting a name you don't know, maybe yours. A raven eater leaps into the firelight, spins, and throws dried herbs into the flames. Sparks shoot up, turning red and green. You think this is chaos. You think this is family. Later, by the fire, the girl with the flute sits beside you. They say the wolves chose your line, she says. Chose you. You shrug. I didn't exactly get a vote. She smirks. None of us did. You ask her name. She gives you one. You don't know if it's real. Then she says, "Watch your back with the frost fangs." They don't howl. They just wait. You glance across the clearing. One of them is watching you, unblinking, charming. But you don't flinch, because the pelt around your shoulders isn't just warm now, it fits. You howl once more, quietly, and somewhere far off in the woods, something howls back.
By morning, your voice is half gone from howling and smoke, and your legs ache in places you didn't know could ache. Inner thigh, outer pride, lower dignity. But it's worth it. You woke up in a pile of furs, half buried under a bear sun who snores like a broken war drum. There's frost on your eyelashes and ash in your hair. You smell like meat, pine, and the vague existential shame of having danced shirtless in front of strangers. "Time to go," says the gravel-voiced man. He's already walking. You stumble after him, feet crunching over thin ice and crusted snow, the wolf pelt wrapped tight around your shoulders. Today feels different, still, cold, and slightly electric. "We're going to the fire," he says. "That's vague," you mumble, but you follow. The path is old. You can tell by the way the trees bend away from it, the roots curling like they've tried to pull themselves back into the earth. Ravens follow above, silent. The wind here doesn't blow, it hovers like it's watching. After an hour or so of climbing, the trail ends in stone, a plateau, and in the center, a fire. But not a normal one. It burns red and blue at once, tall and slow, with no smoke. The logs are blackened but not consumed. Around it, 9 standing stones, each marked with a rune. The runes flicker in the flame's light, dancing like shadows with opinions. This fire has burned since before your name was spoken, the man says. You stare. I mean, not literally, he adds, like a reluctant tour guide. We tend it, we keep it going, but the flame, it remembers. He steps into the circle. You hesitate, then enter, and the temperature drops, which is weird because fire. You realize something else. This flame doesn't give off warmth, it gives off memory. Images flicker in your mind, quick flashes. A woman giving birth under moonlight while wolves circle the hut. A boy carving his name into an axe handle with bleeding fingers. A hand throwing bones into snow and laughing when they land in a perfect circle. Not your memories, not exactly, but they recognize you. This is where we ask, the man says. Not the gods, not the ancestors, the flame. You ask it what? Anything. You kneel. The fire hisses. The shadows on the stone
stretch long and thin, pointing at you. You whisper your question. What does it mean to be one of them? For a moment, the fire shrinks, then roars. You see yourself, older, stronger, standing over a battlefield with red hands and eyes that shine like polished stone. You are not smiling, but you are certain. Then you see your grandfather, not how he looked in photos, but in full pelt, hair wild, standing in this exact spot, eyes full of tears. The vision vanishes. You carry more than blood, the man says. You carry the burden. He walks to one of the stones, taps a rune. This one, he says, means sacrifice. It doesn't get mentioned in the songs. He smiles, but it's always there. He hands you a small iron blade. Blood binds, memory remembers, fire demands. You cut your palm again. Not as dramatic this time, more of a paperwork kind of cut. You squeeze a drop into the fire. It sizzles. The flame shifts color. And suddenly, the world leans in. Like the trees, like the wind, like everything sees you now. You are accepted, says the man. But know this, now that the fire knows your name, it will never forget it. You sit in silence for a long time, staring into the flames. People think of fire as destruction, but this one preserves. It does not burn away weakness. It burns in spite of it. A quick historical aside. Some Viking clans believed fire carried ancestral voices. They called it Elder Minninga, fire of memory. Historians still argue whether this was religious mysticism, metaphor, or a literal belief that flame could speak. Fringe theories suggest they used burning herbs to induce trance visions, which, to be fair, tracks with your current experience. Eventually, the man snuffs the fire. You flinch, but it doesn't go out. It just tucks its way away, down into the coals, like sleep. As you leave the stone circle, you feel it watching you still. A warmth under your skin, not physical. Something older, something waiting. Back at camp, no one speaks. They know where you've been, and you realize you are different now. Not stronger, not wiser, just seen by something that remembers flame.
The next day, everything is quieter. The howling has stopped. The fire circle is behind you. The memory flame rests deep in its stone cradle, and no one talks about it. It's like returning from a dream you're not allowed to describe. You woke with ash under your nails and a faint burn mark on your chest, shaped like nothing, but feeling like everything. You're not even sure if it's real. That morning, as you sit chewing dried reindeer meat, which somehow tastes like leather and guilt, the man with the gravel voice drops beside you with a grunt. "You've seen the fire," he says. You nod. Then It's time you know about her. He tosses something into your lap, a carved wooden amulet. A wolf's face, yes, but not quite right. The proportions are human. Eyes too knowing, jaw too long, lips, yes, lips, curved into a grin that doesn't belong to any honest beast. You blink. What is this? Your great-grandmother, he says. You stare at the amulet. She walked with gods, he continues, danced in snowstorms, and once, according to some, tore open a mountain to rescue her lover. You look up. That last one feels metaphorical. He shrugs. Not really. It collapsed. She walked out. He didn't. Right. Turns out, Berserker women were just as wild, possibly worse. There are accounts of shield maidens who wore wolfskin and led charges. Some say they danced themselves into trance states before battle. Others that they drank only melted snow and spoke in riddles until the day they vanished into mist. Historians still argue whether female berserkers ever existed or were poetic inventions of the Skalds. But here in this clan, there's no doubt. You walk with him down a narrow trail that hugs the edge of a ridge. Below, the trees stretch endlessly, black pines like spears jammed into the snow. You smell something rich and strange, smoke, honey, pine sap, and berries. At the bottom of the slope is a stone house, round, half buried. You might have missed it if not for the curls of pink smoke rising from a crooked chimney. This, he says, is where she lived. You approach. The door creaks open. Inside, bones hanging like wind chimes, animal hides draped across shelves, pots bubbling with something thick and purple. A single candle flickers in the center, surrounded by teeth arranged in concentric rings. There are no windows, just the smell, sharp, sweet, feral. A woman appears in the doorway behind you, not young, not old, wearing a cloak of crow feathers and something that might be human hair tied into braids. You've got her jawline, she says flatly. You spin. What? She's in you, the one who bit a god. Right. She shuffles past, picks up a long pipe carved from antler, and begins to hum. A low, cracked melody that makes your spine itch. You sit. You don't remember deciding to, but you're sitting now. The man says, she taught us everything. How to prepare the rage, how to feed it, how to quiet it. The woman adds, and how to seduce it. You cough. She eyes you. Rage doesn't care about muscle. It wants obedience. It wants love. You can't fight like a wolf unless you're willing to kneel like one first. She presses something into your hand, a root, twisted, cold. Eat it. You do, because your survival instincts are clearly broken now. It tastes like dirt and memories. Your throat burns, your head spins. You blink once, and you're somewhere else. Snow, screaming, a woman, your great-grandmother maybe, spinning barefoot across a frozen lake, laughing with blood on her mouth. Then silence. You come to with your face on the stone floor. The woman chuckles. She likes you. You wipe drool from your chin. She's got a funny way of showing it. The man pulls you to your feet. That was your last test. You don't control the rage. You invite it. You court it. And you risk being devoured. They escort you out. You look back once. The house seems smaller now, like it's exhaling. That night, back at camp, the others gather around you. One by one, they place small tokens at your feet. A feather, a shard of bone, a scrap of fur. Nothing is said, but everything is meant. You are recognized, not just as someone who screamed in the circle, not just someone who bled on the tree or stared into the fire. You are of the line now. You carry her rage and her grin.
You're getting used to the silence now. Not the normal kind. This silence. The kind that walks beside you. The kind that listens. The kind that waits. You wake up before the others. The snow outside glows blue under the early dawn. Your breath clouds the air like fog from an old myth, and even the fire seems reluctant to rise. You sit there for a while, just listening, not thinking, just being. And then you hear it, low, far off, a howl. But it's not celebration. It's warning. By the time you reach the outer ring of the camp, they've already gathered. The bear sons are armed. The iron boars are painting war symbols on their skin with ash and blood. The frost fangs, still silent, are tying braided cords around their wrists. The raven eaters? Well, one of them is laughing into a tree. Someone broke the pact, the gravel-voiced man says, standing beside you. There was a raid. One of the law wolves is dead. You blink? A law wolf? He nods grimly, throat cut, no trial, no signal, no howl. There's a pause. Then he says, "It was one of ours." The air freezes harder than the snow. Suddenly, you're not just new blood. You're suspect. Tension tightens the camp like a drum skin. You can feel the weight of stares. You walk, and eyes follow. Someone mutters the word "stray" as you pass. Another calls you half-furred. You don't react. But inside, your bones are ringing. The clan gathers at the judgment circle, a natural bowl in the land, rimmed with standing stones. Each stone carved with the name of an ancestor. Yours hasn't been added yet. They leave that space blank. Everyone is there. Everyone but one. The youngest of the warriors, your age, wolf-pelted, quiet, quick, he's missing. You remember him from the circle fight. You didn't speak much, but you saw the way he watched the fire, the way he flinched when someone shouted too loud. He broke, says the man next to you. They always do first. The law wolves demand a right. Blood must answer blood. If he is not returned, someone from your clan must replace him in death. The others argue, voices rise, the bear sons roar, the raven eaters start chanting, the frost fangs don't move. You don't speak. You slip away. No one notices. Not until the trees swallow you. You follow footprints, faint, panicked, eastward toward the crags where only wind and shame survive. The trail is broken in places, doubled back. He was running, then crawling, then deciding. You find him at dusk, crouched in a cave, fireless, blood on his hands. Not fresh, not his. His eyes are wild, not rage, fear. He sees you, doesn't speak. Neither do you. You sit beside him, uninvited. You hand him food, dried meat. He eats it without looking at you. Finally, he says, "I didn't mean to." You nod. "They were just there. I panicked." Another nod. He looks at his hands. "I thought if I killed someone powerful, it would make me belong." A beat. "Did it?" He shakes his head. You both sit in silence. Then he says, "You'll take me back?" "No." He tenses. You meet his gaze. "We take you back." The trail home is long. He walks slowly, doesn't speak. You do most of the talking. Tell him about the fire, the woman who bit a god, the way your great-grandmother's grin somehow ended up on your face. It makes him laugh once. When you return, no one speaks. He walks straight into the circle, kneels, offers his hand. The law wolves step forward. One cuts the hand, deep. Blood pours into the snow. A law wolf says, "Let it be known, the pact is broken and the debt paid. May the wolf inside learn silence." And they leave, just like that. The boy does not rise. He stays kneeling. The clan doesn't cheer, but they don't exile him either, which here is mercy. That night, beside the fire, the gravel-voiced man finally speaks to you again. You could have let him die. You nod. But you didn't. Another nod. Why? You think for a moment, then say, "Because the wolf is still a pack animal." He looks at you, and for the first time, smiles. A real one, kind of. The first snowfall after the trial is the heaviest you've seen. Thick, slow flakes drift like feathers torn from an ancient pillow fight between gods. They coat everything, tents, trees, wolves, bones, with that soft white hush that makes even breathing feel too loud. You wake beneath your pelt, blink up at the sky, and for a second forget who you are. Then you remember the dream, your name, but not the one you were born with, a different name. You heard it in the cave. You heard it again in the fire. And now it's whispering in the snow. Huskarl. Not a rank, not a role. A name shaped like a growl in the back of your throat. You don't tell anyone, not yet, because the name doesn't fit your mouth. It owns it. Later that morning, as the camp packs down for the seasonal migration, someone hands you a bone needle and a strip of cured hide. You'll want to mark your pelt, they say, before someone else does it for you. You sit alone and sew the symbol into the edge, a jagged crescent over a single line. The crescent means blood. The line means return. Together they mean you left something behind and you intend to come back for it. As you work, an older woman with braided gray hair sits beside you. Do you know what your real name means? She asks. You blink? My birth name? She nods. You tell her. She snorts. That name's for farmers. You smile a little. And this one? You tap the mark you've sewn. She runs a thumb across it. That name's for something else entirely. Before you can ask what, she's gone. It starts to snow harder. And now you hear it again. That name. Not from the wind. From the trees. From the roots. From the bones in the ground. It follows you like a second shadow. That night, the clan gathers for stories. It's less a ceremony than a requirement. Before migration, every member speaks a memory, a truth, even the ones who haven't earned their fire yet. You're handed the talking stone, smooth, obsidian, warm to the touch. And you speak. You don't mean to, but it happens. You tell them about the dream. Not the whole thing, just the face in the water, the eyes that weren't yours, the name you've never heard, but keep remembering. You speak softly. You speak slowly. You say, I think I'm being followed by someone with my face. The clan listens in silence. The gravel-voiced man nods once. That happens, eventually. Who is it, you ask? He shrugs. Maybe an ancestor. Maybe the wolf in you. Or maybe you're just finally meeting yourself. You pass the stone. Sleep does not come easily that night. You lie awake beneath your pelt, watching snow drift through a gap in the shelter roof. You count your breaths. You think of your grandfather walking into the fjords alone, disappearing. You think of his brother, buried under a tree carved with a curse. You think of the fire that remembers. Then, somewhere near midnight, you hear your name again. But it's not the one you were given. It's Huskar, and it comes from outside your skin. You rise without thinking. The camp is still, the fire's low, no footprints but yours. You walk to the edge of the trees, and there, standing in the snow, is you, wearing the same pelt, holding the same knife, but smiling like someone who remembers the world before it broke. You blink, they vanish. No footprints, no breath in the air, no echo, just the memory of a grin, and the slow realization that they knew your name before you did. You return to the fire, sit down, and whisper, "I see you too."
You head north. Not alone. None of the clans travel alone, but you might as well be. The trail is narrow, icy, and ancient, carved by generations of fur and bone and blood. Everyone moves quietly now, even the bear sons, even the raven eaters. It's not fear, it's reverence. Because this part of the world, this part belongs to the old god. They say he sleeps beneath the glacier, wrapped in frost, beard tangled with dead prayers. They say his breath shapes the wind, and his dreams spill into the snow, twisting men into beasts and beasts into whispers. You're not sure if you believe that. You're also not sure it matters. On the fifth night, the wind changes. The frost fangs, usually so still you forget they breathe, all stop moving at once. One of them lifts their head, sniffs the air, and simply mutters, "He stirs." No one asks who, because everyone knows. The path veers uphill, through an icy pass that squeezes you between walls of blue glass stone. Even your breath echoes wrong here, shorter, thinner, like the air's afraid to linger too long. By dawn, you arrive. A shelf of rock juts from the mountain. In its center, a stone circle partially buried in snow. A ring of crude statues surrounds it, figures carved from glacier rock, each a little taller than a man, each missing a face. They lost their names, someone whispers, so they gave up their faces. This is where he used to speak, the old god. Not Odin, not Thor, older. One of the ones whose name is a shape, not a sound. He remembers the first Berserkers, the gravel-voiced man tells you. Before language, before runes, when men wore fur, not for armor, but for permission. He steps into the circle, places his hand on a flat black stone. He remembers your grandfather. You step in too. The cold here isn't natural. It doesn't bite. It settles. It slips into your ribs and curls up behind your lungs. Your fingers go numb even beneath the pelt. Your lips crack. The wind doesn't blow. It presses. The ritual begins. Each clan places something on the black stone. The Bear Sons offer a bear's heart, still warm, wrapped in pine branches. The Raven Eaters lay a scroll made of skin, inscribed with poems written backwards. The Law Wolves chant a contract in verse. The Iron Boars slam iron spikes into the earth. And your clan? You offer silence. That's all. No token, no blood, just standing there, as still as the stone. Because your great-grandmother said that the only thing the old god respects is someone who knows when to shut up. After the offerings, a single howl is called, high, long, rising into the mountain. The wind swells, the statues creak, and somewhere, deep in the stone, you feel something shift, like a massive body turning in its sleep, a rumble that has no echo. The old god does not wake, but he listens. You feel it. You step back. The Frostfangs leave first, as if they're always trying to leave something behind. Your clan lingers, not out of pride, out of memory. You kneel by the black stone and whisper, "He wore this pelt. He bled here. I saw it in the fire." No response, just cold, which is response enough. As the others descend, the gravel-voiced man stops beside you. "Do you know why we keep coming back?" You shake your head. He points at the stone. "Because memory doesn't care if you're ready. It waits, and then one day it speaks your name, just once." He pauses. "And if you don't answer, it never does again." That night, camp is quiet. Someone plays a bone flute. The melody bends in the wind, curling around your fire like a half-finished song. You sit with your pelt around your shoulders, staring into the flames, feeling heavier somehow. You're not the same person who walked into that circle. You're not even sure you're a person anymore. You're something else now, part history, part howl. And as you fall asleep, a dream waits for you just past the edge of your thoughts. A dream of a glacier cracking open, and something inside smiling. You walk into the Valley of Bones at dusk. It's not marked on any map. No trail signs, no runes. Just a feeling in your stomach, like hunger's older, meaner cousin. The air grows thinner the moment you descend, less like oxygen and more like memory. Your boots crunch over something brittle. You look down, a rib cage. Not buried, not hidden, just there, in the open, picked clean by wind and time. The valley isn't wide, maybe a few hundred paces across, but it feels infinite. Bones stretch in all directions, long bones, small bones, skulls cracked like stories never told right. There are no scavengers, not even birds, just wind. The others don't follow you. They stop at the ridge. This walk is yours alone. Every berserker must walk it once. And if you return, you earn a name carved not into wood, but into stone. You step over femurs. You skirt around vertebrae. Some bones are white, others darkened by old fire. All of them tell a story, even if no one dares listen. At the center stands a post, not tall, not grand, just a twisted, iron-bound spike of wood driven deep into the ground. On it hangs a necklace made of teeth, not wolf teeth, human. You swallow. It's an offering, yours now, or a warning. You reach out, and the ground moves beneath you, not trembles, moves. You fall to your knees, hands sinking into something soft that should not be soft. Ash, beneath the bones, a bed of it, deep, warm. You feel it crawl up your arms. You feel something crawl into your chest. Not pain, not even fear, just presence. You see a flash, a memory. A woman in wolfskin kneeling right where you are now, teeth clenched, eyes wide, whispering a name you can't quite catch. Then a man beside her, pulling something from his chest, a string of fire, and placing it in her hands. Then black. Then silence. Your breath returns slowly. You look around. The bones haven't moved, but you have inside. You reach for the necklace again. This time, it doesn't resist. You place it around your neck. It doesn't weigh much, not physically, but something about it makes your knees weaker, like the teeth are telling you stories they don't want you to enjoy. You turn to go, and there, blocking your path, is a figure, not real, not alive, but not dead either. It's you, the you from the water, from the dreams, from the name, standing, watching, grinning with a mouth full of wolf fangs. They don't speak, but you hear them say. You keep trying to find yourself. You never ask what happens if you do. You don't answer. You step forward. They do not stop you. They vanish. And the bones beneath your feet whisper one word as you pass. Return. You don't look back. No one does. When you reach the ridge, the gravel-voiced man greets you.
He says nothing about the necklace. He just nods once, then gestures to the stone at the camp's edge, the naming stone. Time to carve. You sit with the others. The raven eaters hum as they sharpen bone tools. The bear sons drink. The frost fangs stare at you like they're seeing the outline of your future. You take the blade, press it to the stone, and carve your name. Not the one your mother gave you, not the one the girl with the flute whispered, the one you earned, Huskar. As the stone flakes, the others nod, quiet, satisfied. You are now recorded. Now no one can erase you, except the wind. But the wind was never the enemy. It just forgets easily. You look up at the sky. Snow falling again. You think bones are what's left when memory fails. But names howl back. And tonight, yours finally does.
The rage comes without warning. No moon, no mushrooms, no chance. Just a snap, sharp and sudden, as if something inside you finally stopped pretending to be tame. It happens during a hunt. You're stalking an elk with 2 others from your clan. Frost fangs, both of them, silent, calculating. You're not even sure if they breathe the same air as you. The snow is fresh, powdery. Your boots barely leave prints. The elk's trail is clear, deep gouges, broken branches, steam rising faintly in the cold. Then something shifts. A crack, not a twig, your rib. No pain, just a release, like an old hinge finally giving up. Your vision tunnels, the world shrinks. Every heartbeat becomes thunder. Every scent becomes language. The air smells like elk, pine, and the sweat of the man to your left who's about to flinch. You do not flinch. You leap. You don't remember the kill, just the aftermath. Blood on your face, hair in your mouth, your knife still sheathed. The elk is down, throat torn. Your fingers ache in a way that says they were teeth for a while. The frost fangs stare at you, not with fear, with something worse, recognition. You expect judgment. You expect exile. Instead, the older one kneels beside the elk, presses their forehead to its hide, and says softly, "You did not hesitate. That is the price of inheritance." They help you clean your face. Later, at the fire, you don't speak. Neither do they.
The gravel voice man joins you, places a cup of warm broth in your hand. You felt it. You nod. Your jaws still tight. Your bones still buzz. The rage isn't a tool, he says. It's a companion. Feed it, and it will eat you. Starve it, and it will turn on you. So what do I do? He grins, dry. You talk to it. Right. He sees your doubt and adds, it doesn't speak with words. It speaks in instinct, movement, resistance. You have to listen with your skin. You stare into the fire. You remember that split second when the rage flooded you. It didn't feel evil or violent. It felt hungry, not for blood, for truth. The next morning, he takes you to a frozen pond. The surface is smooth, clear, a perfect mirror. You're going to walk across, he says. You squint. There's nothing on the other side. There doesn't need to be. You step onto the ice. It doesn't crack. It sings. With each step, your reflection ripples. Sometimes it's you. Sometimes it's not. You see a wolf limping with your eyes. A man with a crown of bones screaming. A child staring at a fire, mouthing a name you still haven't dared say aloud. You reach the center. You kneel. You press your palm to the ice. It's cold, but it accepts you. Below the surface, shapes, moving slowly, too large to be fish, maybe too old. You speak one word, the word that came to you in the cave, Huskar, and the ice vibrates, not dangerously, reverently. You return to shore. The gravel voice man waits. He doesn't speak. He just nods and walks away. That night, you lie awake. Your pelt feels heavier, but now it's not a burden. It's armor. You remember the elk, the ice, the names. You remember what it felt like to let go and be held instead of lost. And as sleep creeps in, your rage curls beside you, not snarling, not hiding, just waiting, like a friend who doesn't knock anymore.
You dream of mirrors. Not shiny ones, not clean. These are old, polished obsidian, puddles of ice, still water in tree hollows. And in every one, you catch glimpses of yourself, but not quite. In one, your hair is longer, your teeth sharper, your eyes glow. In another, you wear a crown made of elk antlers, and behind you, a forest burns while wolves bow. In the last one, you aren't there at all, just an empty wolf pelt lying folded on the ground, like a shirt someone took off and never came back for. You wake before dawn. No one else stirs. You walk into the forest barefoot. The snow barely touches you now. It's strange how much of the cold has stopped feeling like punishment? Like your body finally made peace with the fact that winter isn't going anywhere, so why fight it? At the base of a hill, there's a stream that never fully freezes. You kneel, cup water in your hands, and drink. It tastes like metal and memory. The girl from the Raven Eaters is waiting on the trail when you return. She doesn't say hello. She tosses you something. You catch it. A bone flute. "You saw the other you?" she says. You nod. They always show up before the last test. You look at the flute. "What's this for?" She shrugs. "For calling what comes next." You narrow your eyes. "What is next?" She grins. "You'll love it. It involves a cliff." Of course it does. By midday, the clans have gathered again, this time on a ledge that overlooks a narrow fjord, ice-cracked, howling with wind. Below, sharp rocks. Above, dark clouds that look like bruises. The gravel-voiced man explains, "This is where your grandfather jumped." You stare. Into the sea? Into the truth. He points to the edge. It's not about the fall. It's about whether you come back. You step forward. The flute in your hand feels suddenly heavier. You raise it to your lips. The first note is crooked. The second steadies. The third sings. The air thickens. The world leans in. And you jump. You do not fall. You descend. Like water being poured into a shape that only memory recognizes. You are not cold. You are not afraid. You are not you, exactly. You are a wolf chasing a shadow across snowfields older than stars. A child watching their father disappear into a story. A scream echoed across 1,000 winters. When you hit the water, it doesn't splash. It swallows. And below it, a room carved from ice. No walls, just reflections. And in each one, your other selves. Some weeping, some laughing, some dying, some singing. You ask, which one is me? They answer, all of them. You say, but I want to remember. They say, then stop trying to forget. You surface, gasping. It's snowing now. You drag yourself to the rocks, hands raw, legs cut, chest burning. The gravel-voiced man is there. He crouches beside you, places one hand on your shoulder. What did you see? You don't answer right away. Then you say, the truth. He nods. Did it hurt? You nod. Good, he says. Then it was real. They wrap you in your pelt. You don't shiver. You don't smile. But you feel whole. You carry the flute back to the fire that night. You do not play it. You place it beside your namestone. Because that tune, you already heard it, and it brought you home.
They give you your final task at sunset. No witnesses, no ceremony, just a piece of bark with a name carved into it and a direction, north. You don't ask questions. You just go. The forest is pale and quiet, lit only by dying light and your own breath. The pelt around your shoulders is tighter now, like it's holding you back, or maybe trying to keep you warm one last time. You walk without thinking, without fear. The crunch of snow beneath your boots is the only sound. Eventually, you find it. A small clearing, a cairn of stones, a name etched into the largest one, your grandfather's. You kneel. You expected tears, a memory, some overwhelming sense of connection, but all you feel is presence, not sadness, not even love, just wait. You place the piece of bark beside the stone. You wait. And that's when the wind begins to speak. Not words, not sentences, just a rhythm, a pressure, and beneath it, a pulse. The same pulse you felt in the fire, the same one in the ice, the same one inside your chest. You realize something simple and terrifying. This was never about becoming something. It was about remembering that you already were. Your grandfather's name wasn't carved here because he died. It was carved here because he chose to leave the rage behind. You stand. You take a deep breath. And for the first time, you don't feel the wolf stirring, because it's no longer separate from you. It's you. On the way back, the sky splits open with quiet snow. You walk slowly, not because you're tired, but because the silence has finally settled inside you. Back at camp, no one asks what you saw. They just nod and make space for you at the fire. The gravel-voiced man sits beside you. He hands you a bowl. Thick broth. Bitter. Smoky. It's finished, he says. No, you reply. It's remembered. He grins. And for the first time, you smile back. The fire crackles low now. Your legs are tucked beneath the pelt. Your hands still warm from the bowl. And the stars above blink slowly behind sheets of drifting snow. Everything around you is quiet. Not just silent, but done speaking. And that somehow is more comforting than anything else. You lean back, bones soft, thoughts gentler than they've been in weeks. The air smells like wood smoke and pine. Somewhere far off, a wolf howls, not for battle, not for blood, just to say it's there. You understand that now. That howl isn't rage, it's recognition. You don't need to prove anything anymore. You've walked through ice, through fire, through memory, through hunger. You've seen your face in the water and in the snow. You've spoken with your rage and decided not to let it devour you. You carry it gently now, like a story, like a name, like the soft weight of a pelt across your shoulders long after the battle has passed. So, you close your eyes. Let your chest rise. Let it fall. Let the breath melt slowly into the hush around you. Because here, finally, you have arrived. You are not the hunter. You are not the prey. You are simply the one who remembers. Sleep well now, Huskarl. The fire will keep watch, and your name will echo in the snow forever.